6:04. Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP. Mornings with Brian Haldane off and running. Brian here with you. John LaBeouf producing, getting you ready for a Friday show. We will have a lot more on the NOLA attacks throughout the morning. A lot of audio from yesterday's press conference, to be sure. Also going to talk with our resident historian, State Representative Mike Bayham. I'll tell you what, let me give you the whole rundown in just a little bit. Right now, though, you know how we start the show. Oh, by the way, we are starting off at 55 degrees in downtown Baton Rouge. Let's go ahead and get started with a little top stories and trending.
Number 5.
Baton Rouge has a new mayor-president. Sid Edwards was officially sworn in yesterday evening at the Raising Cane's River Center's Theater. The ceremony was followed by a private party over at Tiger Stadium's South Stadium Club.
Number 4.
Metro Council members were sworn in yesterday as well. Brandon Noel will again serve as Mayor Pro Tem. Noel will join us at 8:15 this morning to talk about this year's priorities for the Metro Council.
Number 3.
So much for the co-conspirators. The FBI announced yesterday they believe Shamsuddin Jabbar acted alone. They also released new photos of Jabbar placing those IED ice chests out on Bourbon Street.
Number 2.
Families, alumni, and students of the Episcopal School of Baton Rouge on Thursday gathered for a prayer service to grieve the victims of the Bourbon Street attack that left 14 dead. 2 of those victims were from Episcopal. Class of 2024 Episcopal alumnus Kareem Badawi died, and alumnus Parker Vidrine is in the hospital.
Number 1.
East Baton Rouge District Attorney Hiller Moore says he's got a huge backlog. In fact, talking to our news partners over at WBRZ, he says that backlog is more than 200 cases. And despite a sharp decline from the all-time high in 2021, East Baton Rouge continues to see an increase in total homicides year to year from 2023 to 2024. As far as 2025 is concerned, so far there's been a non-fatal shooting. I'm sorry. There's a homicide on New Year's Day, a non-fatal shooting yesterday. What's trending, John?
Well, this week's terrorism isn't the only terrorism in the news. Nearly 4 years after pipe bombs were planted outside the Democratic and Republican Party's headquarters in Washington, D.C., the FBI on Thursday released new information and footage on the suspect who has still not been identified.
Yeah, got new footage on him. Know a couple things about him. Approximate height, what he was wearing that day.
Right?
You know what? I actually don't know.
Yeah, exactly. Right? Yeah.
Good point. 4 years later, we still don't know. Yeah.
Fascinating.
Yeah. Great stuff. Good work, guys.
In other news, yes, we have a polar vortex next week, but unfortunately, it doesn't look like we will get any snow.
So, 18 states are going to see record low temperatures?
Yeah.
It is going to be brutal around the country,
Getting a little frigid.
to be sure. We're going to see freezing temperatures. We are. We're going to see temperatures in the upper 20s. And everyone is going to lose their minds.
Oh, absolutely.
I'm going to predict, bold prediction here. It's not bold at all. I'm going to predict that school gets canceled at least one day, possibly two.
Man.
Oh, and the reason for it is, and it always makes sense, they don't want kids standing out pre-dawn, sub-freezing temperatures waiting on a school bus.
Right.
So I'm guessing we're going to see at least one day of cancellations next week.
Oh, yeah.
It's not going to cross the streams with the precipitation, though. Precipitation comes through first, vortex comes through second. So that's why we're not going to see any snow.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, will Mike Johnson retain his speakership in the House? Well, the vote today, is that new?
That's ABC News was talking about it this morning. Fox News Rundown was talking about it about 2 hours ago. And he doesn't have much margin for error here.
Right.
He's got a 2-vote swing. It's if he gets 0 Democrat votes. It'd be tough. Here's the thing, though. I'm curious what Cleo Fields and Troy Carter are going to do. Because do you vote party or do you vote with your own state? And Troy Carter has shown in the past he will vote party. However, that was pre-Mike Johnson. So we'll see.
There's a possibility.
Yeah, we'll see.
Okay.
Yeah. One eye on it. Can't keep both eyes on it, though, because of the NOLA stuff, right?
Right.
It's the NOLA tax. Sugar Bowl was last night, or yesterday evening, I should say. Georgia gets walloped by Notre Dame. We'll have a whole lot more on that coming up in sports in just a little bit. Also, LSU women's basketball is off and running. As they took Arkansas to the woodshed yesterday to start off their conference season. Men's basketball is at it this week. The Saints wrap up their season this week. We got a lot of ground to cover in sports, so I tell you what, let's go ahead and break. We'll come back and do sports in just a little bit. However, before we break, got to remind you about the folks over at Vex European. Vex, V is in Vinny right there. That is a V. VexEuropean.com is the website. VexEuropean.com. Celebrating 10 years in business, y'all. 10th anniversary over at Vex European going on throughout this year. What does that mean? Well, that means they have a little bit of sustainability to go along with their unbelievable resume of expertise, or Vexpertise, as I like to say. See, when you go to Vex European, you're getting people who specialize in European vehicles. Whether you're talking about a Mercedes, a BMW, a Jaguar, whether you're talking about an Alfa Fiat, a McLaren, you name it. In fact, rather than me trying to rattle off the list off the top of my head, visit VexEuropean.com. Hit that little drop-down tab that says vehicles. If you see yours on there, know that you're going to get a specialist. You made an investment into your European vehicle. You expect a level of performance to come out of it. That's why I use Vex, and you should too. VexEuropean.com. No! Aha! I didn't think I was at a Staples, damn it. Six 614, Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP. A lot of ground to cover. Let's move quickly here. Starting off last night with the Sugar Bowl. You heard it on our sister station, 104.5 ESPN. Notre Dame Fighting Irish top the Georgia Bulldogs 23-10, your final score. Marcus Freeman, Notre Dame's head coach, credits every facet of the game in his post-game interview with ESPN.
Coach, that Gatorade bath has got to feel really good, and I know as a defensive guy, you have to be so satisfied with the relentless pressure that your defense put on them all night long. How did that group help you get this win?
I mean, the defense was a reflection of the entire team. Just keep battling, and I knew this was going to be a 60-plus minute game because that team never stops. That's why they're the Georgia Bulldogs. So we had to be aggressive. Defense did a heck of a job. All three phases did a great job.
All right, if you're looking at the game and want to blame Gunnar Stockton, the Georgia quarterback who made his first ever start last night, I wouldn't recommend blaming the quarterback. He was 20 of 32 for 234 yards and a touchdown. I would, however, take a look around some of the rest of the offense, like Georgia's running back Trevor Etienne. He was basically a no-show last night, just 38 yards rushing on the night. So your final four are set here in the college football playoff bracket, and Texas is the lone remaining SEC team out there. This coming, on the 10th, you're going to have Texas and Ohio State square off. Day before that, Penn State and Notre Dame will square off on January 9th. So those are your final four right there. Texas versus Ohio State, Penn State versus Notre Dame. Meanwhile, LSU women's basketball started their conference play last night at Arkansas, and just took Arkansas to the woodshed. 98-64, your final score last night. LSU had 4 players in double figures. Anissa Morrow had a double-double last night. 11 points, 10 boards. The first of those 11 points coming from behind the three-point line in the first quarter.
Rebound into the corner. Johnson's got it. Tigers looking to get off to a fast start. Johnson, free throw line, will get it up top. Morrow for 3. Good!
Hey.
Did she bank that in?
I don't know if she banked it in or it hit the back of the rim really hard.
But it went in the bucket.
It went in.
Michaela Williams had 14. Flau'jae Johnson, who you heard pull down that rebound in that last clip, had 15 points on the night, including this three-pointer in the third quarter to really stretch things out, 63-30 LSU.
Off to Poa. Poa down the lane, stops at it, knocked away, but got it back. Hits the trailing Morrow, back to Poa, left of the top of the key. Morrow, by the way, has got 7 rebounds tonight, so approaching the double-double. Poa will lob it left
Good
corner.
pass.
Johnson, wide open, Rainmaker is good. 3 ball, Johnson, right corner.
Yes, Flau'jae did have a double-double on the night, 15 points, 10 rebounds. LSU was led in scoring by Kaylin Gilbert, who had 16, including this shot that ended the third quarter.
Day Wilson with 8. Coach says go. She gets it to Gilbert left wing with 5. Gilbert around to the top of the key. Gilbert going to drive the lane, scoop it up somehow, and it went in!
I think we've seen it before.
That look, deja vu from Washington.
Washington. We've seen that scoop before.
LSU goes on to win 98-64. Tigers will host Auburn Sunday at 3 p.m. You can hear all LSU all season long on your home for LSU women's basketball, Talk 107.3 FM. Moving from the women over to the men, they'll tip off SEC play tomorrow against Vanderbilt. 11-2. Tigers go into conference play at 11-2. Starting off strong, but this SEC schedule is going to be brutal. Head coach Mac McMahon says the conference is the best in the history of college basketball at this point in the season, but his team is eager to compete.
If you look at the SEC right now, you have 17 quad 1 games and 1 quad 2 game in the next 18 SEC league play games. So there are a lot of opportunities to build a resume as you pursue the dream of playing in the postseason.
So you're 11-2 going into conference play. Meanwhile, the Vanderbilt Commodores are 12-1. That's their best start in well over a decade. It's their best start since 2008 after going 9-23 just a season ago. Vanderbilt has the SEC's third leading scorer, Jason Edwards. The Tigers faced twice with North Texas last year. McMahon says they play extremely fast, they limit turnovers, and that's his big concern.
Vanderbilt leads the country in steals. I think they're really active on the defensive end. They're getting 11 steals a game. I think ball security becomes really important. And great credit to Vanderbilt. They made a huge financial investment in their program, which enabled them to go out and put together a really good roster.
Speaking of putting together a good roster, the addition of Cam Carter has been pleasant, to say the least. Shooting percentage from the floor up about 9 points. Shooting percentage from behind the three-point line up a few points as well. McMahon says adding Cam Carter to the roster It's done great things when getting to the free throw line and reducing turnovers.
He's really invested a lot of time to become one of the top three-point shooters in the country. He's doing it at a high level. He's a guy who was in the gym at 5 a.m. every morning this summer. He's put in the work, and I think he's improved his shot selection, which has enabled him to be a lot more efficient there from a field goal percentage standpoint.
LSU and Vandy will tip off 3:30 tomorrow over on our sister station, Eagle 98.1. Speaking of Eagle 98.1, that's where you're going to find the Saints closing out their season on Sunday. The Saints will kick off, I believe, at, you know what, I want to say it's a noon game. You know what? Let's pause we get the Fox Business Report. We'll finish up next. There it is. Nope, that's gone too. I got nothing to report, y'all. Interstates are looking great to start off your morning. I-10 eastbound, I-10 westbound, looking good. Coming in from Ascension, coming in from West Baton Rouge. 12 westbound coming in from Denham Springs, coming in from Livingston Parish. Looking good there as well. I-110 is nice and clear. And on your surface streets, there are no... Oh, whoa, I spoke too soon, dadgummit. We do have a hit and run on I-10 westbound near Dalrymple. I-10 westbound near Dalrymple. It says hit and run has been moved off the roadway. So Baton Rouge police are working that. It'll be off to the side, 10 westbound near Dalrymple. So that's making your way towards downtown. Making your way towards downtown. But it's not causing any delays as of right now. Surface streets are about as clean as we've seen them. That's your look at traffic from the Shaw Bills Tire Traffic Center. .624 coming up on 625 at Talk 107.3 FM WBRP, starting off your morning at 55 degrees in downtown Baton Rouge. Let me give you that rundown I was promising you as far as guests are concerned. This segment right here, we're going to have a lot of audio from yesterday's press conference with the FBI, the ATF, Governor Landry, LaToya Cantrell, New Orleans Mayor LaToya Cantrell. Not a whole lot from Landry or Cantrell in this. I always find that, hey, yes, the politicians need to talk, but if I want answers, I want to. The FBI is leading the investigation. I want to hear from the FBI. We'll have that here and in our segment coming up at 6:50. In between those two segments, at 6:35, I had this booked back before Christmas, and we had some problems connecting with David Samuels. I want to talk about this topic. Are conspiracy theories bad for us? Are conspiracy theories hurting America? David Samuels is the editor of County Highway Magazine. And we're going to talk about what makes them so attractive, why they're so believable. I find them fun, to be honest with you. However, this interview is going to take a different light now because of what went down on New Year's Day. We'll get back into that in a minute. But David Samuels joining us at 6:35. Also talking about the NOLA terror attacks. State Representative Mike Bayham going to join us at 7:15. Leaning on him today, not so much as a state representative, but kind of the resident historian around here. We call on Mike when we can pull out historical reference on any number of things. And Representative Bayham has been quite vocal over on social media about the attack and the investigation that followed. We'll talk with him at 7:15, 7:35. We got Rodney Mallet from DOTD joining us. This is another interview that I had set up before New Year's Day, because I wanted to look at all the projects that DOTD was working on in New Orleans around the Superdome, getting ready for the Super Bowl. Well, in the last 48 hours, that has all shifted, so it's an even more important conversation now than it was when I booked it a little over a week ago. 8 o'clock hour, Mayor Pro Tem Brandon Noel going to join us at 8:15, talk about priorities for the Metro Council in 2025, and then the good folks from P.F. Chang's going to be in for Foodie Friday. Stick around for that, y'all. It's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be a treat. I'm absolutely loving this partnership with P.F. Chang's. I'm hoping they bring the chicken and bubbles, the Golden Feast. I haven't been told what I'm getting yet or what we're being served yet, but I'm hoping for that. So that's your rundown for the guest list this morning. Yesterday, Christopher Rea, FBI's Deputy Assistant Director, met with the media. Well, he and a cast of characters met with the media yesterday to go over the latest in the investigation following the terror attack on Bourbon Street on New Year's morning. Probably the biggest piece of information to come out of yesterday's press conference was the 180. The 180 on co-conspirators. Because now it sounds like this Jabbar acted alone.
But at this point, currently, and this is another fact I want to be clear on, we do not assess at this point that anyone else involved in this attack except for Shamsuddin Jabbar, the subject you've already been briefed on.
Okay. How many times did he say at this point? At this point. Just keep that in the back of your mind for right now. We're going to get more into that a little bit later. Right now, though, let's go back to Deputy Assistant Director Christopher Rea. Talk about a little bit of the timeline of Jabbar rolling into town on New Year's Eve.
As for a timeline, at this point, investigators believe Jabbar picked up the rented F-150 in Houston, Texas on December 30th. He then drove from Houston to New Orleans on the evening of the 31st, and he posted several videos to an online platform proclaiming his support for ISIS. There were 5 videos posted on Jabbar's Facebook account, which are time-stamped beginning at 1:29 a.m. and the last at 3:02 a.m. In the first video, Jabbar explains he originally planned to harm his family and friends, but was concerned the news headlines would not focus on the, quote, war between the believers and the disbelievers, end quote. Additionally, he stated he had joined ISIS before this summer. He also provided a will and testament.
One more from Christopher Rea from yesterday, talking about aside from what Jabbar did with his truck and gun, he planted those 2 IEDs.
FBI bomb technicians also recovered 2 IEDs in coolers, one from the cross-section of Bourbon and Orland Street, and the second at an intersection approximately 2 blocks away. There were multiple reports of other devices. Those reports turned out to be misinformation or not actual functioning devices. Those are the only 2 devices that we've been able to recover that were functional.
Time for us to break. Here comes ABC News. Besh. Did you get the name of the guy who was anchoring for ABC News at the bottom of the hour right there? Troy, we're going to get to this in the 650 segment, talking about it. Yeah, what they're saying is the other pictures and video and whatnot were bystanders who were just kind of inspecting it, not really dropping it off. Not again, huh? Wait till we're back in. Did you give him the number? Right. Chilly for today. Next week, though, that's when the cold rolls in. Here's your full forecast from WBRZ meteorologist Balin Rogers. I've got 406. Go kill. Well, apparently there is a nefarious force that doesn't want us talking about conspiracy theories this morning. My apologies, everyone. We're supposed to have David Samuels on with us talking about our conspiracy theories hurting America. That's the topic. This is the second time we've efforted this, and it's the second time where John's just hammering out the phone number and leaving voicemails on repeat. So I bag it. Don't even worry about it anymore. If he calls us back, we'll go to him. But that's enough hunting for the editor of County Highway Magazine. We got a lot more to cover on the front of the attacks in New Orleans yesterday. If we can connect with him, I would love to have this conversation because it's a great conversation to have. When we talk about conspiracy, is that him? Oh. When we talk about conspiracy theories, they are very attractive to people, and they trigger a lot of things psychologically within us. So, whether you're talking about QAnon or Bigfoot, then a lot of us buy in. So I was hoping to have that conversation. I do want to go back to we're going to revamp this. What we were supposed to have at 6:50, we're going to push up to right now. Okay. I do want to go back to the attacks in the attack in New Orleans on New Year's morning. As we were hearing from Christopher Rea, the assistant deputy director for counterterrorism with the FBI. One more cut from Christopher Rea. This could be cut 4, if you would. As he was talking about, and when you start talking about conspiracy theories, this was what was leading up to that. Was there a connection between the attack in New Orleans and the attack in Las Vegas?
As you know, there's also an FBI investigation in Las Vegas. We are following up on all potential leads and not ruling everything out. However, at this point, there is no definitive link between the attack here in New Orleans and the one in Las Vegas. And again, I'll preface everything with what I started with in the beginning, which was this is very early in an investigation like this.
Again, very early in the investigation. Again, at this point. Now, yesterday at this time, we were talking about quote-unquote similarities. Same rental app was used for the cars, right? They're both military, or one's ex-military, one was active duty. They both served at I want to say they were at the same, not in the same unit, but in the same location at one point along the way. There were similarities along the way. Was there enough to put together connections? Well, that's where Christopher Reyes says no. Bringing it back around to yesterday's press conference, after the FBI, the ATF spoke, Special Agent Josh Jackson talked about moving forward in New Orleans as when you have an investigation to this scale, an investigation to this magnitude, you bring in a ton of additional resources. The governor signing off on some emergency declarations to help facilitate that. Those resources weren't just needed to get the Sugar Bowl off on time, but now that they're here, they're going to be here for a minute. Here's ATF Special Agent Josh Jackson.
Additional resources, as the governor alluded to, he executed executive powers and had an emergency declared where ATF was able to tap in to Emergency Support Function 13 resources. This allowed us to bring additional explosive detection canines so that we can safely sweep the city and safely sweep the Super Bowl in preparation for the game today. These resources will still be in the city as we lead up to the Super Bowl and to Mardi Gras. These type of ATF resources will be there.
One of the things, and I don't have the cut for this one because I thought we were going to be stuck for time. One of the things that is going to be talked about a lot leading up to the Super Bowl and Mardi Gras is that term soft target. And one of the things that makes New Orleans a soft target here is just the area that has to be covered. You're not talking about securing the Superdome. You're not even talking about securing 8 to 10 blocks worth of Bourbon Street. When you open things up for Mardi Gras, you're talking about securing an entire city. Uptown, downtown, CBD, the Quarter. Hell, Parades Rolling Metairie on the West Bank. I mean, when you're talking about Mardi Gras, it is a soft target because it's everywhere and it's physically impossible to cover it all. The Superdome's one thing, but think about where the hotels are in New Orleans, where folks are going to be staying for the Super Bowl. You get the entire CBD there. You've got up and down Poydras, up and down Canal, and all points in between. And then you move east of Canal and you get into the French Quarter, and there's, dozens upon dozens of hotels within the Quarter alone. There's so much square footage that has to be covered that it's going to remain, it's going to be a soft target. It's just, there's no other way you do this. When what we saw on New Year's morning leaves so many questions unanswered about why weren't the sidewalks blocked off. Leaves so many questions, and it's all Monday morning quarterbacking, and I get that. But leaves so many questions about the bollards that weren't, the big metal barricades coming out of the ground. Where were they? How did he get around that NOPD vehicle to get on Bourbon Street in the first place? How did he get 3 blocks? Like, why wouldn't you have bollards every block along the way? So that even if something does go awry, it doesn't have the chance to make it that far, picking up that kind of speed. Although with an EV, you did pick up speed quickly. But all that being said, even with that, you're talking about a confined space. As soft as a target as it is, it's still a confined space. Mardi Gras is all over the place, man. We're going to go all the way up to 50 here. Okay. I want to play one more soundbite from yesterday's press conference, and that is part of the Q&A. Because the biggest news out of yesterday's press conference was there were no co-conspirators. Well, how can you be sure? How can you know over the course of 24 hours' time that there were no co-conspirators? How can you go from searching for a handful of people to searching for no people? This is about a 3.5 minute, because I want to play the whole thing, question and answer from both Jeff Landry and Christopher Reyes. Full audio, full context, no abbreviation, no soundbite, so you can hear what they both had to say on this.
Governor, this is for you and the assistant director. The message has really changed since yesterday. Yesterday, the FBI said that people should be vigilant, that he did not act alone, that he likely had help. And now you're coming out the very next day and saying he was a lone wolf, everything is safe, the game moves on, everybody have a good time. How can you be so sure just 12 hours later?
We're going to bring him up. All right, but here's what I want to remind everyone. Like I was a deputy ship. Right? I worked in the jail. I worked on the street. I worked on the interstate. I served warrants. I can tell you. Look, in today's world, I get it. Information, we get information like that. Everybody lives in a 15-second TikTok video. We think that life operates like it does on our phones, and it just doesn't. Information changes. In fact, that's why we ask the media for patience. We get information, like I said, no one dumps 1,000-piece jigsaw puzzle and puts it together in 5 seconds. Okay? And what I would tell you is that I appreciate the fact that what we did was we're under-promising and over-delivering today. And I think that's important. And I want to remind something. Look, because over the last decade, law enforcement has taken it on the chin, unfairly. And there are great men and women serving in the FBI, in ATF, Louisiana State Police, in New Orleans PD. Our sheriffs have been unbelievable in this. And I tell you, they want to protect you all. And we have to trust them. And sometimes the information we put out, we end up finding out that it may be incorrect. But guess what? What we're doing here is something that I think is important. It's called transparency. Look, something may change again. Here's what I do know. Right now, this is one of the safest places on earth. It doesn't mean that nothing can't happen.
Thank you, Governor. And to echo exactly, I think the governor put it eloquently, as could be said. In a lot of these instances, I also had the opportunity to play Boss Bomb, and I will tell you this is almost carbon copy to Boss Bomb as far as the inaccurate reporting that comes up. And what the governor said, we want to be transparent with the public. Years of the FBI not being transparent, we're being as transparent as we possibly can. And unfortunately, as we're being transparent, unfortunately for that, there is some information that we have to go back and recorrect. And in this particular incident, you heard the resources that we brought, that the other state and locals have brought. We've had 24 hours now to go through media, to go through phones, to interview people, to analyze those videos, analyze other databases. And after all of that, there's been hundreds and hundreds of leads done just in 24 hours. We're confident at this point that there is no accomplices. And I'll give you an idea of how that information sometimes, a lot of the early reports came out that there were extra people that were setting the coolers down, right? It turns out those were just patrons on the street that were looking inside the coolers, right? We didn't know that at first. We had to kind of track all that down and put that to rest. So that's just an example, one of the pieces of information, but there were other pieces of information that after we got our feet under us a little bit and on the ground here, we were able to put together a much more accurate picture of the subject and his intentions.
So it comes down to this. Do you want a real-time flow of information? Or would you like something nice packaged up with a bow to where it's not going to change? If we want information 8, 10, 12 hours after this incident happened, we can expect that information is going to change a little bit. And we have to be the grown-ups here that say, okay, I get it. You got new stuff on tap. That's why every time Christopher Reyes said at this time, it stands out to me, is because it is at this time. If they find out more later on, they're going to report more later on. So the question becomes, what would you rather have? The finished investigation and nobody talks to us until then? Or do they trust us with the information, which is what I want? Trust us with the information with the understanding that things can morph, things can change along the way. It's got to be one or the other. Here comes Your Money Now on Talk 107.3 FM at 650. That was weird. Okay. I'm going to send you 5 cuts real quick. This is how fast I'm moving. Tell me I'm not starting my new year off right. What up? By the way, fuck that guy. Okay. This is going to go. Oh, send. Johnson 1. Johnson 2. How is this one labeled? Can afford only one is next. I'm sorry, I'm moving fast. I don't have time to relabel. Massey 1. Massey 2. And then if he can't get votes. By the way, is Christy in this morning? Good morning, Boo. Good morning, Christy. Galen says real-time information and adequate data analysis doesn't have to be mutually exclusive. Early on New Year's Day, the FBI reported the incident and said IEDs were found, but this is not a terrorism event. How can this not be a terrorism event? From their first press conference, they said terrorism. So I don't know what was said before that. Who said it under what authority to say that it wasn't terrorism? We got to go back and walk through that because everything happened fast, and I probably missed something along the way. Okay. You got the cuts? Okay. .655 Talk 107.3 FM WBRP mornings with Brian Haldane rolling right along. So the House is going to come to a vote today. Will Mike Johnson remain our speaker? We're going to talk about that in exactly 60 seconds. I do need to remind you about the folks over at Mathern's. Download the Mathern's app today. I use the Mathern's app all the time. So every time I work over at LSU, I'll stop off to get a sandwich, a Red Bull, whatever the case might be. And I'll hit up that little Mathern's app, pull up a little barcode, they scan it on the way, and I'm earning cash towards more groceries every time I shop. Whether you're grabbing something quick to eat, whether you're knocking out the full grocery list, or the wife texts you at work, say, hey, I need you to pick up this, and this on the way home. Whatever it is, you can be earning cash towards more groceries every time you shop. And, oh, by the way, with Mardi Gras right around the corner, hit up Matherns.com. Catering menus available at Matherns.com. Well, the catering menus are available on the app as well. But if before you hit up that Mardi Gras ball, maybe swing on by, get yourself a tray of boudin balls, tray of sandwiches, maybe a cookie tray. Yeah, hitting up a Mardi Gras ball, you might need Matherns for a little bit of catering help along the way. It's available on the Matherns Rewards app and at Matherns.com, and it's good at both locations, downtown on 3rd Street or in the Nicholson Gateway Shopping Center, directly across the street from Tiger Stadium. So, Mike Johnson's got himself a tight window today to find out if he is going to be retaining his speakership. He's had a number of meetings so far, and so far those meetings were running kind of smoothly.
Meetings are going well, and I think tomorrow's going to go smoothly. So,
let's hope so. Keeping with that, though, Mike Johnson, he didn't elaborate a whole lot more on top of that, but did say
people are talking through process changes they want and those kinds of things, and I'm open to that, and I think tomorrow's going to go well.
Let's hope so. I mean, we'll see it, I believe, noon Eastern today, so 11 o'clock our time, right as Kilmeade hits the air. Well, we should have some word right there. Now, ABC News' Andrew Dimbert, or is it Dimbert? Andrew Dimbert was reporting on this slim margin. That, in fact, rather than me regurgitating everything he had to say, here's Andrew Dimbert from ABC News talking about the margin of error he has.
He can only afford to lose one Republican vote, and Tom Massey of Kentucky is already a firm no. ABC News counts at least 17 others who are undecided.
You have a lot like me who said that we're not there yet.
Congressman Ralph Norman of South Carolina belongs to the Arch Conservative Freedom Caucus, which met with Johnson.
What are your sticking points right now with Johnson?
Same things as always been. Spending.
President-elect Trump has endorsed Johnson. Without a speaker in place, business in the Capitol will grind to a halt, just as he's poised to take office.
Okay, let's stick with Thomas Massey on that, since he seems to be the naysayer here. Thomas Massey talked about, number one, his big reason, not just spending. It goes a little bit deeper than that.
He lost my vote when he sent $60 billion to Ukraine. He has never been for the Trump agenda.
Okay, Thomas Massey's got himself a problem on his hands. And he doubles down talking about that Trump agenda.
He's not a competent speaker. He doesn't know how to rally this conference. He doesn't know how to get bills passed. He showed us that right before Christmas with the failures on the CR.
One has to wonder, is it Mike Johnson's failure or the naysayers who say no to everything? Is it those who want to be nothing but obstructionists in the House? And you got a problem on your hands if you say he can't carry out a Trump agenda, because the person who disagrees with you there is Trump. Somewhere in the middle's got to, not even in the middle. Thomas Massey says Mike Johnson isn't up to Trump's capabilities. Donald Trump thinks otherwise. Who are you going to back on that one? So what happens if things don't come to fruition today? Here's ABC's Lauren Peller.
If Republicans can't agree on Johnson to lead the House, then the chamber will effectively be at a standstill. Republicans will likely keep trying and go ballot to ballot until they come to a conclusion to reach that magic number of 218. 2 years ago, it took Kevin McCarthy 15 rounds and several concessions were made for him to get the gavel, for him to then lose his job several months later.
Yeah, because he was deballed from the start. Here comes ABC News at 7 o'clock. I guess I didn't get to him in time. Yeah. I got to go back and re-listen to yesterday's press conference. I went and I grabbed what I needed from it. Didn't listen to the whole thing because I was technically still on vacation and trying to spend New Year's Day with family and friends. So I'll go back and re-listen to it. Oh, David Samuels texted me. And he texted me from another number. He's the guy releasing a printed magazine in 2024. I don't think technology is his thing.
Might not be.
What's a magazine? Oh, it's like the internet made from a tree. Brad Clifton with a great question. When will the conversation start about the acceleration rate of an F-150 Lightning? As soon as the terrorist made the turn on the Bourbon, he was doing 60. Yeah. In fact, wasn't that... well, again, internet speculation from yesterday, but the reason he picked an EV was to be able to get up to a speed quickly. But I hope you're not talking about limiting performance because, damn, if I'm getting on the interstate, I want to get up to 60 that quick. If I'm using a car the way it's supposed to be used, probably the biggest selling point. Oh, Galen, I agree with this totally. $7:05. Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP. Mornings with Brian Haldane rolling right along. Hour two coming your way right now. Brian here with you, John LaBeouf producing. We get a busy hour two. We're going to talk a little more about the New Orleans terror attack, the Bourbon Street terror attack from New Year's morning. State Representative Mike Bayham is going to join us in our next segment. I want to talk with Mike not so much about his role as a state representative because there's really not a whole lot state reps going to do, but more as a historian. I mean, Mike's from the New Orleans area, Chalmette to be specific. But knows Louisiana history, New Orleans history inside and out, and has been quite vocal on social media throughout this event and investigation. So We'll hear from him at 7:15, 7:35. Rodney Mallet with DOTD is going to join us. I want to talk with Rodney about some of the projects that DOTD was working on in New Orleans, getting ready for the Super Bowl. Where are we on that timeline, on that scale? Originally, when I reached out to Rodney, I wanted to talk about what was going on here in Baton Rouge as well. College Drive flyover is a big one. What interstate projects or road projects are we looking at into 2025? We'll touch on all that as well, but I want to add to the conversation any security measures that might be added to their plate over at DOTD in getting ready for the Super Bowl. So those two conversations, one with Mike Bayham, one with Rodney Mallet, happening this hour. Right now, top stories and trending.
Number 5.
Baton Rouge has a new mayor-president. Sid Edwards was officially sworn in yesterday evening at the Raisin Cane River Center's Theater. The ceremony was followed by a private party at Tiger Stadium's South Stadium Club. Mayor-President Sid Edwards joined us yesterday, kind of setting the table for what we could expect in the first couple weeks, if not the first couple months, of his tenure as mayor.
Number 4.
Metro Council members were sworn in yesterday as well. Brandon Noel will again serve as mayor pro tem. Noel's going to join us at 8:15 to talk about this year's priorities for the Metro Council.
Number 3.
So much for the co-conspirators. The FBI announced yesterday they believe Shamsun Din Jabbar acted alone. They also released new photos of Jabbar placing the IED ice chests on Bourbon Street rather than other people who were initially thought to have placed them out there.
Number 2.
Families, alumni, and students at Episcopal in Baton Rouge gathered yesterday for a prayer service to grieve the victims of the Bourbon Street attack that left 14 dead. Well, 15 when you include Jabbar as well. 2 of the victims were from Episcopal. 2024 Episcopal alumnus Kareem Badawi died, and alumnus Parker Vadrine is in the hospital.
Number 1.
Police are investigating a shooting that happened Thursday evening that left a grandmother and her 14-year-old granddaughter injured. BRPD said it happened on St. Gerard Avenue off Airline Highway just after 5 p.m. The 2 victims were injured, taken to the hospital for treatment. Police said their injuries were non-life-threatening. What's trending, John?
Well, this week's terrorism isn't the only terrorism in the news, unfortunately. Nearly 4 years after pipe bombs were planted outside the Democratic and Republican Party's headquarters in Washington, D.C., the FBI on Thursday released new information and footage on the suspect, who is still not been identified.
Yeah, I mean, we have photos and what have you. But man, the congressional panel that was put together on this, I mean, the report they put out, just the word failure is all over it. Failure is all over it. And man, when you couple that with, well, number one, our expectations as a populace,
yeah,
but just the track record overall, I mean, what the FBI is gonna be the first one to have it come to Jesus when Donald Trump gets sworn in. I mean, that's gonna be a sit down I wouldn't want to be at.
Yeah, and it's hard, right? I mean, trying to find a motive for this thing without being able to have the identity of the person.
Right.
It's a mess.
Right.
Oh man. Hey, in other news, yes, we will have a polar vortex next week.
For what it's worth.
It doesn't look like it will snow.
No. So our precipitation is gonna happen like a day before it gets cold, right? And there's going to be, I want to say it's 18 states that are going to see record temperature, record lows and whatnot. We are not going to be in that number, but we are going to get into the 20s. Our overnight lows is it Monday and Tuesday of next week, Tuesday morning and Wednesday morning of next week.
Right.
Could be like 28, 29 degrees. So everyone's going to freak out. I wouldn't be shocked if school gets canceled for a day.
Oh no. Yeah.
Back in my day, we stood at the bus stop.
Yeah.
No.
In 20-degree weather.
Yeah.
In shorts. Will Mike Johnson retain his speakership in the House? Well, the vote for that is today at noon.
So, noon Eastern, right?
Yep.
Yeah. We just got done talking about that in the last segment. That last cut that we played, talking about reliving the Kevin McCarthy days. Republicans, please. Republicans on the Hill, please listen. And like, who am I even talking to right now? Please don't shoot ourselves in the foot. We have a good speaker. We have a strong speaker. We are never, ever, ever going to have a speaker that gets you everything you want. Ever. but you were elected to the legislative branch. You were not elected to the dictatorship. You are a legislator, not a dictator. You have to play well with others, which means every once in a while compromising. Compromising is not a sign of weakness. The results of said compromise are where the grade will come. We're going to shoot ourselves in the foot. I just know it. Yeah. I just know it. I know I'm being a little negative Nelly about it, but it's the writing's on the wall.
Who knows, right?
Jack legs like Thomas Massey are going to draw a line in the sand and say, well, this happened that I didn't like, so I'm going to nix everything else and throw the baby out with the bathwater.
Guess time will tell, right?
Yep. Noon today, 11 o'clock today.
Yep.
It is 7:11 at Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP. Before we take our first break for the second hour, got to remind you about the folks over at P.F. Chang's. Looking forward to Foodie Friday coming up a little more than an hour from right now, about an hour and 20 minutes from right now. P.F. Chang's going to be in the house. I really hope we're doing the Golden Feast. The Golden Feast at P.F. Chang's is a special thing, y'all. Chicken and bubbles is amazing. If you think I'm talking about, like, bubbly, think again. I'm not going to spoil the surprise, but whether you talk about that Korean fried chicken, whether you talk about the little nuggets, the poppers with the different sauces, oh, it's so amazing. Or broaden this out, talk about the whole dadgum menu. I'm a big Mongolian beef guy, and I asked him to spicy it up a little bit on top, and it's just amazing. Took the family there a couple weeks ago, and we're honestly due to go back again. But it's such a special experience, and you don't often get the time to, in today's world, to sit down to have dinner with the family, to set aside an hour, hour and a half, just to enjoy each other's company, put away the cell phones, put away the Candy Crush and the Brick Blocker games and all that other stuff. Just enjoy each other's company. That's what we did. We went to P.F. Chang's, and we had a nice little night as a family. It was fantastic. They're in Town Center. They're in Town Center off of Corporate Boulevard. Just look for the Golden Horse. It's P.F. Chang's. You have Bayham's number?
I don't know if I have his number. Let me see. I could be wrong. No, I don't.
Okay, no worries. .715 Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP, mornings with Brian Haldane, rolling right along. Obviously, not getting too far away from the terror attack on Bourbon Street to start off New Year's morning. What's up? In searching for a guest to talk about this situation, I needed to cross-reference someone who is from the greater New Orleans area, combined with kind of a state New Orleans historian. And fortunately, we got Mike Bayham. He's a state representative from Chalmette who fits that mold. Mike, good morning. Happy New Year. How are you, sir?
Good morning. Happy New Year, Brian. I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm doing well as well. Walk me through, before we get into some of the individual questions along the way and some of your takes, walk me through how you were processing this on New Year's Day and yesterday.
Well, on New Year's Day, I had actually, I was actually a few hours behind, so I was asleep when it happened, and I got a call, and I was told about, someone called me up and told me, hey, look, there was a terrorist attack in New Orleans. I'm like, what? You wouldn't think New Orleans would be this target compared to places like Washington, New York, much more high profile and populous. And I just immediately went online and took a look at whatever was posted there, the information. Later on, I had some videos, and I was shocked. I really, New Orleans, because we have so many big public events in open areas like Mardi Gras. The French Quarter is always packed whenever you've got any type of major sporting event. We're going to be having the Super Bowl soon. I guess it shouldn't be that shocking, but it was really something that left me stunned, and and I was a little bit surprised because I know that they had installed these, not bollards, but these metal raisable gates along the quarter for that purpose. And I'm like, so I at first thought of someone driving through, and look, we saw in Germany at the Christmas market in Magdeburg recently where an Islamic terrorist went plowing through that Christmas market and killed a bunch of people. But I thought with the installation of these gates they have, that could be the ground level, and we just hit a button and they could raise it. I didn't think that was possible, so I was a little surprised.
The security level of this we're going to get to in a minute. But just the overall, when you look at historically in New Orleans, you mentioned Mardi Gras, you mentioned the Super Bowl. There is no way that New Orleans can't be a soft target. Everything that we do covers so much ground.
Well, that's correct. You could, you have parade routes that are a mile, that are several miles long, and you cannot possibly protect yourself from all possibilities.
Right.
And look, part of living in a free country is accepting the reality that we're not going to burden ourselves in an overly secure environment where we limit our ability to live our lives and enjoy our lives. So there's nothing you could do to fully protect yourself. But in the case of Bourbon Street, and look, I've been to Bourbon Street from New Year's.
Mm-hmm.
It's like elbow to elbow in a quarter. It gets so tight, during those areas, during that time. So the guy struck at 3:00 when a large bit of Bourbon Street was probably empty compared to, say, midnight. And so I guess one thing that came out of this was that, that Bourbon Street certainly is a target of opportunity. The timing, if this guy would have did this attack earlier that evening, he almost certainly would have harmed a lot more people.
No, absolutely, and that's been one of the questions along the way is why so late? If you wanted to do inflict, what was the term, maximum carnage, then earlier would have been it would have been more packed downtown, or not just in the quarter, but on Canal Street to even get onto Bourbon Street from there. We're talking with State Representative Mike Bayham about the New Orleans terror attack, the Bourbon Street terror attack from New Year's morning. Mike, you've been quite active on social media throughout this, following along with not just Jeff Landry's responses, but more to the point, the FBI's responses. What's been your takeaways of what the FBI has had to say along the way?
Well, initially, the agent at that press conference had stated that it was not a terrorist attack, which I was just flummoxed when I watched that, and it clearly was. This isn't a case where you had a confused old person behind the wheel of a vehicle in Santa Monica Pier or whatever happened in California many years ago, where an elderly person just zoned out and just started driving down a pedestrian area and hurt a lot of people and killed some. I mean, you could see the ISIS flag on the back of the truck, and then the guy had a gun and he was shooting people. And I'm like, how I can understand why the government doesn't want to alarm people, but facts are facts, and reality is reality. And I think there's a greater harm to the public good to not be straight with people. Now, if they didn't have what they thought was the full evidence or whatever, that's one thing. But to discount that on the front end, I was surprised and disappointed, because let's be honest, it insulted a lot of people's intelligence.
Yeah,
and I think some people have come out of this screaming about John Kennedy's comments during the press conference, but I think John, and I've known John a very long time, since 1999, I think John was just so personally, insulted and outraged by that tape that he just couldn't contain his anger. And I mean, look, all you had to do was look on the picture of the vehicle. I mean, unfortunately, we all know what the ISIS flag looks like, because they were rampaging around the Middle East, taking over parts of Iraq 10 years ago. And so we saw the flag everywhere on the news. And, I mean, it wasn't a pirate flag. We all knew what it was.
Right.
And the guy was sort of shooting people. So under what circumstances do you go driving down 60 miles an hour down Bourbon Street, get out of your car after you crash it, your vehicle after you crash it, and just start randomly shooting people? I mean, it's not like the guy was trying to rob a bank.
Right.
So I just don't know what was going through their minds when they made that statement. And look, let's be honest, the federal government has not exactly done a good job winning over people's trust, particularly with all of these shenanigans related to President Trump over the years.
Well, and we were going to get into that as well. And that is the overall report card of the FBI continues to get downgraded here. We're talking with State Representative Mike Bayham. Now, while there was the initial denial, they did course correct, though, and call it terrorism, but then follow up 24 hours later. I want to get your reaction to them saying he acted alone.
All right. I mean, it's one thing to you remember the scene from Animal House when they had like the parade scene?
Kevin Bacon, remain calm.
Kevin Bacon's characters like saying all is well, remain calm, and there's a riot going on around him.
Yeah.
Okay, we all know what we saw, but so for the first assessment statement, to be, oh, this wasn't terrorism. That's one thing, because it's, we all saw what we saw. Now they're on the ground. They have all these resources, as does the state, as does the city. They maintain that this man, whose background in the military, to my knowledge, had nothing to do with explosives, handling of explosives or creating explosives, managed to do these IEDs, had the place secured in the French Quarter, drove around, had the gun, and then his house goes up in flames an hour and a half after he's dead, and that this is some kind of lone wolf position. I mean, look, that everyone can make their own opinion. Now, I'm not going to challenge. I'm not an investigator with that's privy to the details. I think some things are a lot harder to swallow than others, and I'll just leave it at that.
I would think the ISIS flag in and of itself connects him to a group. Now, when they say he acted alone, they could mean in setting those two ice chest IEDs on Bourbon Street and driving the vehicle. There was nobody riding shotgun, right? If they're saying if that's what they mean when he acted alone. But once you're part of a group, you're part of a group.
Right. Well. I mean, he was he not trained by somebody? I mean,
right.
It's one thing for a lone wolf to take a gun or just a car and inflict that kind of carnage, but like I said, it's people can make their own judgment on that, and I'm not gonna. It's one thing to challenge the initial assessment, like everybody did, that has any sense about them, that this certainly was a terrorist attack.
Right.
And look, give the mayor of New Orleans credit. I certainly do not give her much credit. I sat there watching that press conference. FBI agent, oh, this wasn't terrorism. The police chief kind of soft pedals it. And then TD gets up there and says, oh, this was terrorism. So I'll give her that much. I mean, she got up there and called it what it was. And I mean, at least she was right on the money on that. So there's a lot of people doubting that assessment, and I can't blame them. And I count myself as one of them. On the full loan, I mean, I think the man certainly had some type of advice, or was consulted, or something along those lines, on bomb making or whatever. But once again, going back to the initial thing, some things are a lot harder to accept than others, but I'm not privy to the investigation. I'm not on the ground, so I'll just leave it there.
Last one before I get you out of here, State Representative Mike Bayham's with us, and that is, what's the state legislature's role here? Are we going to see a couple bills come up? I mean, I know it's a fiscal session, limited and whatnot, but are we going to see something where we try to correct or overcorrect within the upcoming legislative session to try and fix what I don't think is fixable?
I fully imagine we will. Let me say this. The state representative for the French Quarter is Alonzo Knox. Alonzo is a former, well, you're not a former. He served in the Marine Corps. You're a Marine forever. He served in Desert Storm. There is not a legislator who is more qualified or better prepared to handle to be engaged in this tragedy than Representative Knox. And if anything comes of it, I think a lot of people should consult him first rather than grandstand on something, or at least give out of respect for the legislator for that area. There should be some deference to him, and I'm sure Representative Knox is going to take some things into consideration. I'm sure there'll be people from other side of the state looking at doing things. But I mean, once again, whatever gets brought up needs to be more than grandstanding. It needs to be something that practically protects the interests of the people and can be implemented, and not just, temper tantruming on the floor of the legislature.
All right, let me re-ask this. As a state legislator, would you prefer to see this handled within New Orleans?
Yeah, but there's some things maybe that they need the state legislature to enact. There may be something that needs to be tightened up on state level that gives them the ability to do something that they may not be able to do. But like I said, I'd encourage everybody to consult with Representative Knox first, not just because it's his district, but he's a conscientious legislator. He's served in combat. He's one of the smartest guys up at the state capitol, and look, he's going through a hard time right now. And a bunch of us have reached out to him. That first call-out place I didn't call him. I know he'd be too busy, but I did text him and let him know, find out if there's anything we could do. And I know his fellow Marines, Representative Galley and Sheriff Wiley in the House, have all reached out to Representative Knox as well, lend him their support. So I think we need to take a look at that. Representative Boyer from Breaux Bridge is a former state trooper. That's someone who's, I think he's done patrol work in the city, in the French Quarter. So that's someone else I would consult. Sheriff Wiley from Ascension Parish. I think anything that comes about needs to be, we need to consult with them first and not just turn in a bill just the grandstanding issue. We want something that protects the people and not just put on a good political show to get votes.
He is State Representative Mike Bayham. I appreciate a couple minutes this morning, man. Thank you so much.
All right, Brian. Thank you.
Thanks. It is 7:30. Here's news. The guy who booked the interview through with David Samuels gave me the wrong number. Me doing what? It's not what's up. It's That's not what I'm saying though. There's a there. Why did somebody call about it? Oh, okay. No, it was. I was. Yes, sir. All right, not a problem. We'll have you officially. Oh, okay. Oh, you couldn't hear me the first time? Oh, okay. Oh, yeah, you come in clear, man. All right, thank you. It does sound like what's up, but that's not what I was saying. Bayham needs a pull start, man. Gotta get him rolling in the morning. Rodney and Brandon are going to be our features today. Yeah, he texted me, so he's got my number. I don't know why he has my number. That's the other part. Time to get a look at your forecast. Here's WBRZ meteorologist Balin Rogers. .739 Talk 107.3 FM WBRP mornings with Brian Haldane rolling right along. Ran a little long there with State Representative Mike Bayham, so let's get right back to the hotline. We've got Rodney Mallet with DOTD on with us. Good morning, Rodney. How are you, sir?
Good morning, Brian. Things are going well.
Glad to have you on this morning. Initially, when I reached out, I just wanted to set the table for what DOTD was going to be up to in the Baton Rouge area for 2025 and maybe check in on Super Bowl progress as well, as y'all are working a number of projects on the roads down there. Can we start with the Super Bowl just to knock out what's on the punch list?
Sure. We are working in conjunction with the city on several different projects. Mainly, it's minor projects on our end, like we're resurfacing part of Poydras from the interstate to Galvez. We're doing some fencing and some cosmetic work throughout the area, throughout New Orleans. And then in the medical complex area, we're making some repairs there to the sidewalks, some patching, and we're working with the city, I think, there on some water lines. And then also around the Superdome,
yes,
we're doing a lot of striping, some more resurfacing and concrete work, sidewalk repair, those type of things. So, those are the things that we're doing right now in conjunction with the city for the Super Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
But there's a lot of things that have been going on in that area that I believe that visitors are going to see, and it's really going to help their experience, mainly with at the airport, that new on and off ramp, the entrance and exit to there, and the diverging diamond. So the traffic in that area is going to be a lot better. Also, part of that project, I-10 was widened in that Kenner area. I think that's going to be really helpful for people trying to get down to the Superdome or downtown. It's going to be a much safer, less congested than it was in the past.
Mm-hmm.
And then, we've worked with the city also to repair some of the interstate lighting and upgrade the lighting along I-10 and 610. So there's been a lot of progress, a lot of improvements in the New Orleans area. Some of it specifically related to the Super Bowl, and some of it is just going to be like lagniappe for the Super Bowl, so they're going to get to see some improvements.
Excellent stuff. We're talking with Rodney Mallet from DOTD. Rodney, I would be remiss if I didn't ask if there were already plans in the works with when it comes to safety precautions. Does DOTD have a role in any interstate off-ramp closures, way people are rerouted to the CBD or to the French Quarter as a result of what went down on January 1st?
That's going to be a local law enforcement, or maybe even that's going to be a law enforcement call. And what happens is usually if they need equipment, they can call us and we will help set up barricades. But that's a local call in any event, not just because of this event or the Super Bowl, but that's the local.
We got Rodney Mallet with us from DOTD. Yeah, I mean, it's just one of those things. It's top of mind. It's top of news. I got to ask about it, right?
Oh, I understand, yes.
Yeah. Let's bring it back home a little bit. I mean, initially when I reached out to you, my main thing I wanted to talk about was the College Drive flyover. And then,
oh, yeah, that's great.
Where are we right now, and how much longer till we're done?
It should be completed by the spring of this year. So we've made a lot of progress. That project started in 2021, and it was hindered at the start from the COVID, and then we had the supply chain issues. And, it seems like that was forever, but it wasn't that long ago. And then we had the year of the hurricanes where we reached a zeta.
Yeah.
And then they have made a strong comeback since then, and that's going to be opening in this spring. And I think that is going to be something that is going to transform the congestion in our area. It's going to be a lot safer. I don't know if you go that. Well, yeah, I know you come down I-12, so you see that merge with people trying to get over to college and people trying to get over to go downtown. To have that taken care of is going to be very beneficial.
Just between you, me, and the wall, I take Florida Boulevard as often as I can. I avoid the interstate like it's got a disease, Rodney.
I take Florida quite a bit too, and we have a rehab project coming up in 2025 that it's going to resurface and do some sidewalk improvements on Florida. So we're looking forward to that as well.
Can you talk to me a little bit about that? I mean, what can we expect there? Because I know I know there's patches of Florida that's just rough right now.
Well, I don't have all the specifics on me right now, but I know it's going to be over there by that Foster area. It's going to be, and that's a rough area. That is surface-wise, and that's going to be that's within the limits of that project.
Okay, well, yeah, and you've already got lane closures. If you're on Florida headed eastbound, you can't turn left onto Foster, and if you are on Foster headed, I believe that would be northbound. There's a lane blockage there as well. So this thing's already starting to be in the works.
Right, and that's going to be great. Now, I take that area quite a bit, and it is in need of repair.
Is the College Drive? Let's move back over to the interstates real quick. Is the College Drive flyover the only real? I know there's a lot of work being done on the interstate right now, but College Drive, we're going to see discernible difference within this year. How much other discernible difference are we going to see, like say over the lakes and for the rest of I-10?
Well, we're hoping that lakes project will be finished by the end of the year.
Oh, wow.
And that'll be good. Also, here's one that I think your listeners will be very happy to hear. Is the Jubin Road, the roundabout and the widening, that should be completed this year as well. Also, with the new Mississippi River Bridge, we should, if everything goes right with the environmental, the thing about when you have to do the environmental, the part of the National Environmental Protection Act is if you find something that needs further investigation, then that's going to extend your time to do the environmental study. And that's where we are right now. We're hoping we can wrap that up and have a preferred route and have a public meeting and let everybody know what that route is going to be by the end of the year.
We're talking with Rodney Mallet from DOTD. Okay, let's stick with that for just a second because that kind of resets the timeline there. And I know, legislatively, if we're talking about funding, that's not your bailiwick. That's for me to deal with legislators on. But when it comes to timeline, how far off are we from where we were to get another bridge?
Well, it's not anything that's going to happen real soon.
Right.
We have to do the environmental study. We have to do the public meeting. We have to get public comments. And then we're going to have to design, and we're going to do the toll study. So it's like you said, there is the question of funding. But I will tell you that this is not the first time that the state has tried to add a bridge across the Mississippi River, but this is the furthest that we've ever gotten. So we have reached a milestone that as the department we're kind of happy to reach.
Well, yeah, I mean, nobody's going to pat themselves on the back until there's a physical bridge built, but being this far down the stretch is a good thing. Keeping with that, though, and I don't want to get too local because I know you're state DOTD, but on the one side of the bridge with the 415 connector and on the other side with Highway 30, how's progress on those two?
They're still progressing. I do not have bid dates on those on the top of my head, but okay. I can email those to you as soon as we get off the phone.
I appreciate that. Yeah, I would like to kick 2025 off with some updates on those two fronts. What else are y'all working on that we're going to see? Like we'll be able to put eyes and wheels on this year?
Well, you're definitely going to see more improvements with the PQ lane. That is not set to be completed until 2026, but we do get a lot of questions at DOTD about PQ because of all the progress they've made. So that is going to be a project that is going to help that part of town with the congestion on the interstate and Seagan and Perkins and Airline. So they're definitely moving forward with that. We're going to continue with the I-10 widening. So you're going to see, all the construction over there.
Mm-hmm.
At St. James and St. John, we get a lot of questions about the Airline Highway. That is a major thoroughfare over there, and we have a big project that should be completed in 2026. It's going to mill and overlay that whole stretch. And also, the LA 30 roundabouts, it's progressing nicely. They're not going to be completed this year, but they're going to see a lot of progress on that. So we got that going, and we also have the second phase, and I know that you're very popular in West Baton Rouge. People will be very excited to know that the next phase of the Intracoastal Waterway Bridge improvements or replacements will be starting this spring, and that's going to be on the northbound side of the bridge. So, we're getting closer and closer on that project as well.
Yeah, that's one that, I drove over that a couple weeks ago. It looks like it's almost there. I mean, it looks like it's so close to completion just to get back to it.
Well, yeah, we're going to have to take down the bridge, the northbound bridge, and then they'll rebuild it, and then we'll move the traffic back over to the northbound side. So, and I know West Baton Rouge will be happy to see that, and also I know they'll be happy because I know I lived over there for a while, and I would be happy if I still was over there to have that dedicated lane.
Yeah.
To go east so you don't have people cutting over at the last minute.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, absolutely. He is Rodney Mallet with DOTD. We appreciate the update, man. Thanks so much for a couple minutes.
All right, anytime, Brian. It's been too long.
Yes, it has. We'll talk to you soon. It's 7:50. Here's your money now. It was arable. It wasn't bad. Let me talk to Cade. You're going to be producing the mornings for sure. If you want the afternoon as well, let me talk to Cade. Oh yeah, I'm doing 2 shows a day. I go there and I work, dude. It's not a vacation for me. I drink a lot too, but I'm up in time for the damn show. See, the beauty part about the beauty part about the East Coast is it's actually like an hour sleeping in for me.
Oh yeah.
Like I like if everybody else out till midnight, that's actually 11 o'clock for us. So my 5 a.m. is their 6 a.m.
Yep.
So if I'm up at 5, and like normally like this morning I woke up late this morning. I woke up at 4:15, but like it's an hour sleeping in for me because the show doesn't start till 7 o'clock there.
Right.
So
there you go. Works out, man.
Oh, nice. And then I get home and I crash. .756 Talk 107.3 FM WBRP. Mornings with Brian Haldane, rolling right along. Man, this afternoon, long awaited, overdue, actually. The last step in my roof. I got 2 solar panels that run the water heater. We're not full solar at the Haldane house, but we run the water heater off the solar panels. Having the solar guy come out to reinstall the panels this afternoon. Which is the last step in what has been an unbelievably easy process in getting myself a new roof. And the reason it's been so easy is because I hopped onto parishbuilt.com. That's the website for Parish Construction and Roofing. I hopped on their website, and on the homepage, there's a little form that says, how can we help? I filled out the little form, got in touch with Zach over at Parish Construction and Roofing. He came out to the house, got up on the roof, took some high-def pictures, showed me the pictures, and said, you got damage here, 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 and here. Actually, there are a few more heres in that list because I needed a new roof in a bad way. What sparked me to do it was re-upping my homeowner's insurance. They said, we would love to offer you some kind of better rate than what we've got, but you need a new roof, and you're overdue for it. So you can't improve your homeowner's insurance rate until you have a new roof. Well, that's what I did. And the process has been so easy. Parish holds your hand figuratively, the entire way through. The adjustment process, the installation process, all of it. Parishbuilt.com is the website. Parishbuilt.com, 364-1007 if you want to give them a call. Parish Construction and Roofing. So, I got homework for these first couple weeks of the new year, and that's running down the new 6th District Congressman, Cleo Fields, to see if we're going to keep D.C. Current going on Wednesday mornings. Congressman Troy Carter is already committed to it from the 2nd District, working with Julia Letlow's people to see if we can hammer down a time there as well. But, man, our Wednesdays with Garrett are done. We're all done. Sad. But if Congressman Fields wants to pick it up, I'm ready to roll. Well, this is still the heart of the 6th District, and, I mean, even though it covers like a bazillion parishes from here to, Omaha, Nebraska and back is what that district stretches. Cleo Fields says he's back in Congress. He's excited to return to D.C.
I'm real excited. I'm excited to go back to finish some of the things we started 32 years ago. I know it's a different Congress. It's going to be a different Congress. It's a different attitude, and I'm going to do my very best to move the needle forward.
God bless. I'm sorry. Finish things that we started 32 years ago sounds so absurd. But the thing is, he's not wrong. Just kick in the door and be like, okay, guys, I'm back. Let's roll. He wants to pick up where he left off, specifically on education.
And actually, I started it, so I'm going to have to get more members. I'm going to have to get members from the Senate, members from the House, start the Education Caucus, and start zeroing in on education.
I'll be reaching out to his office to see if we can put together a time. Might not be Wednesday at 7:35, but it will be brought to you by the folks over at the Louisiana Association of Business and Industry. They bring you DC Current every time it comes your way. All right, it's 8 o'clock. Time for us to get news, traffic, weather. Hour 3 is next. Like all of Washington, D.C. has just been on pause for 32 years. Oh, so obtuse. Oh, I got to set up the table before OJ gets here from P.F. Chang's. Okay, serious question. Third time's a charm with David Samuels, now that I've got his direct line?
I mean, yeah, there was just a little bit of a mix-up there, but, I mean, it's forgivable, right?
You deal with a third party, a go-between,
yeah. And if he's texting you, that says a lot. Yeah. I mean, if he's reaching out saying, hey, sorry for the mix-up.
Ta-da! Oh, man. Washington Mardi Gras meetings start next week. I've already been through it all with sales.
Yeah.
Since we, you know what? I need to tease that. I haven't done the read on that one yet today. I did the P.F. Chang's read at 7-Eleven so that it wouldn't be in the same hour as them. I owe Parish Construction one more because it wasn't on the log yesterday. Oh, excuse me. Oh. Do I have time to run down? I have to. 'Knock out this day in history, and then you're up. .806 Talk 107.3 FM WBRP. Mornings with Brian Haldane rolling right along. Hour 3 coming your way right now. Looking forward to a busy hour. This hour, we've got Mayor Pro Tem Brandon Noel with us. What are the priorities for the Metro Council in 2025? We're going to talk about that in our next segment. Also this hour, my guy OJ, and I believe he's bringing his head chef along as well. P.F. Chang's going to be in the house for Foodie Friday. That's all coming up a little bit later on. Hey, before we get you to this day in history, got to remind you, Talk 107.3 is heading back to our nation's capital to celebrate Washington Mardi Gras. Join me and Gordy Rush Thursday, January 23rd and Friday the 24th as we broadcast live from the Washington Hilton for, Mornings with Brian Haldane, this show, as well as a special afternoon drive show from 4 to 6 p.m. Our coverage is presented by Presley Wealth Management, Rev, and the National Wildlife Federation. Looking forward to that. The meetings start next week to kind of run down all the details and make sure we have all of our ducks in a row and everything in order. Looking forward to Washington Mardi Gras this year. Going to be a cavalcade of content, as it were. All right, right now, this day in history. Let's roll.
All right. Starting off in 1777 here, General George Washington's Revolutionary Army defeats British forces at the Battle of Princeton, New Jersey.
All right. Go ahead, guys.
That happened?
Good job.
Yeah.
Battle of Princeton.
1870 construction begins on New York's Brooklyn Bridge, which is completed May 24th of 1883.
Okay.
Yep. Let's see.
Did they have to go through environmental study after environmental study? Did they? No.
Yeah. 1912, the Southern Pacific Railroad offers to bring the Liberty Bell to the Panama Pacific Exposition and San Francisco for free.
Okay.
Let's see. 1977, Steve Wozniak and Steve Jobs incorporate Apple Computer Incorporated.
Wow, you skip right past 1959.
What was 59?
Alaska became the 49th state.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah, this day in
Nice.
1959.
Nice. Sorry, I didn't have
All
it
good.
on my list. Let's see. Music news here. 1987, Aretha Franklin is the first female artist to be inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Okay.
Let's see. 2004, after hosting the show for over 30 years, Casey Kasem gives up the hosting duties of American Top 40 to Ryan Seacrest.
Wow, that was 21 years ago?
Insane, right?
Yeah.
Insane.
Ridiculous.
Such good memories listening.
Yeah. Hey, couple
Casey
people
Kasem.
booted from the Catholic Church today.
Who's that?
This day in 1521, Martin Luther was excommunicated.
My man.
Yeah, the beginning of the Protestant Reformation right there. And this day in 1962, Fidel Castro got the same boot.
Okay, I could see that one.
Yeah.
Martin Luther.
Well.
Yeah, I mean, 95 Thesis,
Yeah.
Let's see.
2005. This day in 2005,
Ooh,
right here in Baton Rouge, Kip Holden was sworn in as mayor. First African-American mayor in Baton Rouge.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
Okay.
And I got two from the sports
like
world
that.
as well.
What we got?
This day, and they both happened on this day in 2007. Number one,
Big day.
LSU won the Sugar Bowl over Notre Dame, 41-14. That was Jamarcus Russell's big Sugar Bowl.
Nice.
And then also on this day in 2007, high-profile Miami Dolphins head coach Nick Saban destroys the SEC. He leaves the Miami Dolphins to go be the coach. All right, I'm not going to be the next coach of Alabama, but he was.
But he
Took
was.
the coaching job at Alabama, therefore destroying the next 20 years in the SEC.
Ooh. You want to move on to birthday?
18 years, whatever.
On that note, you want to move on to birthday?
Yeah, let's move on to birthdays. Fine, whatever.
I got Mel Gibson today.
Yep.
I got Eli Manning as well. Actress Florence Pugh. Let's see. You know what? Greta Thunberg.
Actress who?
Florence Pugh. Or Pugh? Puh?
Okay.
It's Pugh.
Never heard of her.
What?
Who is she?
Midsummer? Man, she was Fighting with the Family. She was, oh, man, that movie with Harry Styles came out.
She's new. That would be
Newer.
why.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, she's got some good. Yeah,
all right.
She's got some good films. She was in Oppenheimer as well.
Okay. I still need to see that.
Yeah. John Paul Jones, bassist for Led Zeppelin today as well.
Okay. J.R.R. Tolkien.
Okay.
His birthday today, 1892, he was born.
Nice.
You had Eli Manning. Did you have actress Danica McKellar?
Oh, I did.
Who has been on the show?
Yes.
She was on a couple weeks ago.
Did not.
And one more in the world of sports is you had Eli. You did not have former Rams and Saints quarterback Jim Everett. He was born on this day in 1963, and former LSU wide receiver and Chicago Bears wide receiver Wendell Davis.
Okay.
Born on this day in 1966.
Okay. As far as deaths go, I got Conrad Hilton today from the Hilton Hotels. Entrepreneur there. Anybody else on your end?
Jack Ruby.
Jack Ruby. I don't have him. Oh,
Yeah.
man. That's
Jack
solid.
Ruby
That's
died on
solid.
this day in 1967.
Solid. National days?
That's you. Whatever you got.
No. That's what I was, okay. National Right to Congress Day.
Whatever. Okay. And they just got sworn in. They're not answering diddly from you.
That's what it is.
All
And chocolate covered cherry day. You want to go with that?
No,
How
I don't
about
like either
fruitcake?
one of those. They both stink.
J.R.
Oh, it's also. Oh,
Tolkien Day.
wait! I missed Mark Morial. It's Mark Morial's birthday too.
Oh, okay.
You got
Tolkien Day today.
I got chocolate covered cherry day too. I quit.
Memento Mori Day. That's good.
No, it's getting worse.
Sorry.
It's all right.
What about Mind Body Wellness Day?
Nope. I don't like any of
It just
it.
gets worse.
It's
The further you go down.
All right. It's 8:12 at Talk 107.3 FM. Coming up on 8:13. Quick break when we come back. What's on the Metro Council's plate for 2025? We talk with Brandon Noel next. How are you, sir? Huh? I'll be up your way Saturday night. DJing a wedding. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I don't know, someplace in Zachary. I got it written down at home. So I hope so. I know the bride's family. They're fun. It's my friend Marcel, her sister. You don't know the menu though? It's written down at home. I'm like, yeah. There's only like 2 or 3. I think it's at St. John the Baptist in the pack, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. Oh, I finally got a good one. No more with the one that I was given on retreat. Finally got the nice one. That
was the one I was given.
Yep,
2020. Yep. Yeah, I've almost lost it a couple times.
I lost mine.
Worn. Yeah,
I lost mine.
Quite a few people I know said they just looked one day and it was gone.
Yeah.
So,
yep.
Where'd you get yours?
Christy got it for me for Christmas.
Okay, so you don't know. No. I've looked a few times. I need to get one.
I assume from the Axe store.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Which is unbelievably small.
I'd imagine. It'll grow.
No, their whole headquarters is. We went to San Antonio for vacation a couple summers ago.
Oh, like physical store.
Yes.
Gotcha. Oh wow. I'll be at DC Mardi Gras.
Oh yeah?
First time.
Okay.
I've been in public office for 14 years and have never been.
14 years?
I did 3 terms in Zachary before
Yeah.
my first term.
Wow.
EBR, yeah. So
that's crazy. But yeah, it's a lot of fun.
Everybody every year telling me I gotta go. I'm like, all right,
go.
next year.
Yeah.
So this time I went ahead. I booked. It was
Are you
funny.
in the Hilton?
No, St. Regis. I booked late. I still booked late.
Where's St. Regis?
They tell me it's in a good spot. I don't know.
Okay.
I consulted with Laurie Adams and Jen Rocca and everybody else who typically goes, and they were like, that's fine.
Okay.
It was very limited on where to stay.
Yeah.
It's right down from the Hilton. It's
Okay.
not far.
Well, there's like 3 hotels across the street. I stayed at one of them 2 years ago. That was just awful because it's a hotel/hostel. Like 2 of the floors are just like bunks. That was terrible. I think it's called the Generator or something to that effect. Then the 2 that are along the same street right there that are both across the street both across Connecticut are fantastic.
Yeah.
Very, very, very nice.
I think it's nicer than I even wanted. I was just very limited on what was available.
I Airbnb it.
Yeah.
Go out the back door of the Hilton, through the parking lot or through the parking garage, and right across the street. There's this little 4-story, and it's all Airbnbs, like 1 room, 1 bedroom, or studio apartment type Airbnb. And I get back to my room faster than people because the elevator's there. Like the elevator.
Everybody.
Yeah.
Everybody. Yeah.
So I walk through the parking garage and I'm back to my room quicker than people staying in the hotel.
That's wild.
It's nuts. 8:16, Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP. Mornings with Brian Haldane rolling right along. So before Mayor President Sid Edwards was sworn in yesterday, the Metro Council got to do their swearing in as well. And put back in the position of Mayor Pro Tem is Brandon Noel, who joins us now. How are you, sir?
I'm doing well, Brian. Thanks for having me.
No, glad to have you on here. 2025 feels like it's going to be a strong year here in Baton Rouge.
I think so. I think we're poised for a really great year, and we got everybody. We got a fresh council with 2 new people on it, but everybody feels invigorated, especially with new mayor president installed. So I think it's going to be great.
We're going to get to the mayor president in a minute. I want to start with the council, though, because mayor president or not, or regardless of who the mayor president is, y'all got a lot on your plate.
Mm-hmm.
What are some of the things that are going to highlight the first few months from the Metro Council's perspective?
So certainly, we've got 10 returning members, and so that's huge. We work well together. Anybody who's followed the council through these past 4 years can see that. And so I think we're ready to really take on some major projects. Certainly we're dealing with the budgetary issues coming from the St. George Corporation. So I think we're going to all be looking for ways to really highlight what are the necessities and how to make government more efficient in East Baton Rouge Parish, which I think is going to be welcomed from the constituents, from, of course, anybody fiscally conservative who's watching everything that's going on in City Parish budget-wise. And so those things are going to flow. The budget's already passed because plan of government make sure of that in the previous year. I would imagine we may see mid-year some budget amendments coming out of the administration once they get their feet wet and kind of put their fingers on everything and wrap their hands around exactly what is this, billion-dollar corporation, so to speak. And so, once they come in and have their plan, they're going to bring us, I'd imagine, some amendments on the budget, how they see fit. And I would imagine we'll see some efficiencies come out of that. But we have a strong working relationship on the council together, and I'd imagine we'll have that with the administration as well to kind of bring forward some efficiencies.
Budgetary concerns when it comes to St. George. A lot of this has more to do with how restricted the budget is than how much money St. George is owed. What kind of work can we expect to see towards undedicating funds? I know that's getting to be more and more popular amongst the council. Are we going to see a very visual effort of a very tangible effort of that?
I think so. Now, when you're talking about the funds that are city parish funds, there is just a limited amount. But there's other taxes out there, and yes, there are council members who are actively working on that, and they're going to be bringing forward some legislation to look at maybe getting a proposal together to the people to vote on, maybe restructuring some of their tax dedications.
Right. Well, because we run into this repeatedly in Baton Rouge, and throughout my adult life, I've seen it over and over again, whether you're talking about cats, whether you're talking about the library, most recently Breck, and Breck's been in the crosshairs because they just asked for money like last November, right? So a different agency or a different department needs dollars. The library needs to build a new library, so we get a millage to build that library, and it's great. It's awesome. We love it. And the Goodwood Library is fantastic, and I love it in particular. But then once it's built, that millage is still there.
Sure.
And you can't tell me that, mopping the floors costs the same as building the building. So, and each department has seen that. Every entity has seen that. And y'all don't get $1 from it when it comes to discretionary funds.
That's right. And I can tell you, so I'll give you an example. The library, they have, if I'm not mistaken, about $116 or $119 million fund balance right now. Now, they will tell you, and they're right, they're good stewards they save their money, they have it planned, they have it allocated for this library that's going to be built, and this one and that one. And that's the right way to do it, is build up and then, but I don't necessarily think it's a problem to go to the people and say, hey, do you want that new library, or would you like to dedicate that to road infrastructure or drainage? And so that's some of what's being talked about, is maybe just going to the public and finding out, hey, would you prefer to reallocate those dollars elsewhere?
Right. Yes. Because we have wants and we have needs. And yes, we like our libraries for sure. But at the same time, though, I don't want the books from the library floating past my house because there's a flood, because drainage is backed up. I don't want there to be danger in the parking lot of a library because we can't lock people up and put them in a new prison. These are things that, I would like to take, a little bit here, a little bit there, and put things together to fill what we need.
Sure, absolutely. And I mean, you look at, so when we talk about crime, which you're touching on, there's been a lot of talk about cutting the police budget, but really that was just removal of positions that have been, or freezing of positions that have been unfilled for years.
Yeah.
And so I think, and this is something I think the administration is going to work on, and we're going to look at adjusting, seeing if we can fill, basically, I think going to the police and saying, hey, lock up the bad guys. We're behind you. They're going to do their part. And then bringing their, then trying to fill up the academies and see if we can actually fill those spots before we start budgeting for them.
Right. And I mean, the police department's one thing. Hiller Moore's office is another.
Mm-hmm.
Hell, he had a story up this morning about how backlogged they are.
Sure.
And about how, I mean, it's such a multifaceted approach to get his head above water, because you're never going to arrest your way out of crime, and you're not going to lock everybody up to get your way out of crime. This is a generational thing. It involves a number of different facets that we can't afford to pull money from one to put it on the other. We got to rob Peter to pay Paul, and there's nobody to prosecute the person who robbed Peter in the first place.
Sure.
So, okay, so those are the budgetary concerns. Getting into the St. George stuff individually, or specifically, how far away are we from seeing this all be just all controversy and all of it being a thing of the past, and St. George is just now a city that's here, and we can all move forward?
I'd love to be able to speak intelligently on that, but honestly, we've not been involved at all. I met with a couple of the St. George, met with the St. George mayor and one council member at one point about it, and heard a little bit of what's going on, but really we've been kept out of this. It's been more the administration dealing with the transition over there. And
when you say the administration, you mean former Mayor Broom's administration?
Correct.
Okay.
So I would hope to be provided greater access. But you're also talking about, when you bring in the council, the Metro Council, or, you're talking about having to publicize meetings if you're bringing in more than 6.
Right.
So it's really not been brought to us. Any deal that is ultimately struck will have to be voted on by us on the contract, on what's ultimately decided upon. But we've not been involved really too much at all.
See, that's kind of a tough spot, though, right? If you're not involved in the talks, but you are involved in the vote, it's like, well, you didn't have a say on the front end, but you're asking to make a call on the back end.
Well, that's why sometimes, I mean, if you want to have the votes, you better be involved, or you better hope what the council wants.
Right.
So, yeah.
When it comes to individual projects, what are a few of the headlining projects we're going to see in the next couple months?
Again, I think there's some council members working on some tax issues that are going to be big. I know infrastructure you hear that repeatedly from a lot of the different council members. I know from my district, that's something that's big. When you look at blight in certain areas, that's on the top of a lot of council members' lists. For me, blight is more tall grass.
Right.
I've got a very rural district. My district is about a third of the parish geographically.
Yeah.
And so what a lot of people don't realize is a lot of roads and a lot of grass and tall grass. And so they try to do a spray program sometimes, which turns tall green grass to tall brown grass because we just have to cut it first.
Right.
And so for me, so we have all of our districts are slightly different. Mine, being so rural and having so much unincorporated, is certainly different. So you're going to see a lot of infrastructure things. One thing I know incoming administration has said they wanted to do is spend an entire day with each of us in our districts, riding around, seeing everything, have lunch there, meet with people there, and find out exactly what the needs, wants, and desires are from each district. And I think that's a phenomenal idea. That's going to be great.
Yeah, it absolutely is. When you mention infrastructure, my first thought goes to roads. From the Metro Council standpoint, are we able to take Mayor Broom's Move EBR projects and keep them seamless into the Edwards administration?
I would think so. There's been, that's based on taxes. So the way those are allocated, like it can't really be adjusted. And I think at best you can do a reprioritization if need be, but I don't think that'll happen because I think constituents have been told timelines time and time again on certain projects, and while those may adjust for reasons outside of everyone's control, whether it be weather or Corps of Engineers or different variables, by and large, those are on specific timelines based on priority, and I don't think you're going to see a whole lot of deviation.
That's good news because, I mean, of everything that of everything that we can complain about as a populace, that this is one area where Mayor Broom did some pretty darn good work.
Sure.
So we got Brandon Nolan with us for about 4 more minutes. I want to spend those last 4 minutes talking about the new administration and working with them. How much interaction have you had with Sid and his transition team?
So, very little thus far, and I know they've been bombarded. I met shortly after election night. I met with a couple of members of his team, just talking about upcoming year and broad generalities about department heads and who we thought, and I think they're doing this with all of the council, needed to absolutely stay, and who were most important to make sure they hung on to. And then I met with have had a few conversations and met with the new interim CAO, and that's going to be, we're going to be meeting a lot more. But I know they've been kind of bombarded these past few weeks, so I was trying to hold off and wait till swearing in occurred, and then I think in the next week or two we're going to really dive in and have a lot of interaction and try to formulate a plan going forward. Because
you mentioned Blight earlier, that's one of his big priorities. We talked about filling up the police academy. That's one of his priorities. One of Mayor Edwards' priorities as well. So these are all things that I think we're going to find a lot of crossing of the streams in the coming weeks.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's the main thing, is figure out what their plan is, make sure that they understand what the needs are coming directly from the constituents to the council, and that way we're all rowing in the same direction.
We got Brandon Nolan with us. We got actually a minute and a half left. I want to, if we could, within that last minute and a half, talk about, you got 10 council members stayed the same, 2 new ones.
Yeah.
Tell me about the newbies.
So Tawana Harris, who was the aide for Councilman Lamont Cole, she's been around this for a while, and she's I think she's going to hit the ground running, because if anybody knows our aides, they are the hardest working people in City Parish.
Yeah.
And we thank God for them every day. I couldn't get through a day without Lisa Rio, my aide, taking on all of the emails, all of the calls, everything that comes in. So Tawana's no stranger to it. She's awesome. Anthony Kinney, very excited about him as well. Young guy, 27 years old. He's raring to go. He's excited about serving. And, I think they're both really excited to serve their community, serve their constituents, and everybody who's back again is ready to serve. And I'm excited to serve them as Mayor Pro Tem.
He is Mayor Pro Tem, Brandon Noel. We appreciate a couple minutes this morning.
Thanks so much.
Thank you. We're coming up on 8:30 at Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP. We're going to hit ABC News, local news, traffic, weather. When we come back, the folks from P.F. Chang's are in the house for Foodie Friday. Hey, don't forget, want to remind you one more time. You know what? We mentioned St. George a little while ago. Talk 107.3 presents a weekly conversation with St. George Mayor Dustin Yates. Monday afternoons at 5 p.m. We call it Mondays with the Mayor. You can watch the show each week on the City of St. George Facebook page. It's Mondays with the Mayor. Mayor Dustin Yates joins us Monday afternoons at 5 on Talk 107.3. Awesome.
Good.
Yep. They 837 Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP. Mornings with Brian Haldane rolling right along. Man, been a busy show thus far, and we're not done by any stretch just yet. It is time for Foodie Friday, and I'm so happy to welcome in to the studio. We got Quentin Mars and we got OJ coming in from P.F. Chang's. Fellas, welcome aboard. How are you?
I'm great.
I tell you what, let's get you way up here. There we go. It's get right up on them, fellas.
Okay.
How's it going this morning?
Great. Beautiful morning. Happy to be here.
Glad to have y'all in here. So I mean, it's obviously, I'm a big fan of P.F. Chang's. Y'all already know that. Loving the partnership that we've already got rolling here. And was been looking forward to getting y'all in here for Foodie Friday. So before we get into what we've got today, let's tell the P.F. Chang's story and a little bit about what folks can expect when they go over to Town Center off Corporate Boulevard and look for that giant golden horse.
Well, the story is that we've been around for many years, and we been doing a great job, and we've been just providing everything that they look for. The name stands out, says it all. So when they get there, we just make sure that everything that they came for is spot on, and we're very consistent with what we bring, and we've been doing it for many years, and that's what keeps us going.
There are traditional Chinese food items on the menu. They're Asian inspired that take a bit of a different flair as well. What do you really feel is your wheelhouse?
It's got to be our chicken lettuce wraps as our signature appetizer. That's been the Chang spicy chicken as well. Those two have just, like I said, everybody knows them top of their head mind as soon as they get there. That's the first go-to. Very consistent with that, keeping the same recipe, and yes, and it's just very enjoyable. Delicious.
Quentin, you're back in the kitchen. Tell me all about the work experience over there and what kind of efforts and pride you put into what you do.
Yeah, man, we take a lot of pride in cooking the dishes, making sure that we do it correctly and with the soul. And my kitchen is very, very, very inspiring. We have fun of cooking the dishes and making sure that every customer enjoys it and they come back.
OJ, what's hot right now, man? What I mean, the lettuce wraps, that's a staple. I'm a Mongolian beef guy. That's a staple. What's hot right now that people are getting after?
Well, right now we have our weekly features, which is the sea bass and the salt and pepper prawns, which they had removed from the menu, but right now they are the hot selling items. Everybody has been asking about them, and we brought them back by popular demand for a limited time. But we may bring them back, depending how well it goes and it sells with everybody knowing that it came back.
Is the Golden Feast still available?
Golden Feast is still available. Yes, it is. That right there, we have it's a bone-in chicken or boneless. We also have a popcorn chicken available, and it comes with a sauce flight from sweet soy glaze to honey hot, which are my favorite. And after that, we have the dynamite sauce with the chili crisps, and that was very got its kick to it, but it's very good. All those, and you had those the other day.
I did. The hot honey or the honey hot. It's that right mix of sweet and spicy. It's that right down the middle lane right there. It's so good. But the spicy one, the dynamite one, I mean, even with the punch, sometimes when you have too much spice, you lose flavor.
Yeah.
That dynamite sauce does not lose flavor at all. You get to experience all of it and sweat.
Yes, and even with that being said, that's just not necessarily just for that. We let guests know they can get any of those sauces anytime they want with their meal. And we've had some that like it, and especially that dynamite sauce. Everybody loves that. Quentin himself here
I eat it on top of rice.
With white rice. Yes.
I probably need to start asking for it just hey, can I get some of the dynamite sauce on the side?
I've been eating it for 9 years.
Okay, it is certainly it does have the pop though. I mean, don't take it lightly for sure. When it comes to P.F. Chang's, let's talk about the experience real quick because it's not. There aren't that many places in Baton Rouge where you have that level of the overall ambiance, the overall experience, the dining experience, the wait staff experience. Your staff is wonderful as well, but it's not like you're not ordering takeout Chinese. This is not that. This is that next level up or two levels up from there, to be sure. So talk a little bit about the experience over at P.F. Chang's.
Yeah, so the experience starts right from the door. As soon as they walk in, is that warm welcome greet from the host team, and being able to letting them know if we're celebrating anything. That way we can get anything set up and seating them to their table. And with that being said, after that, they got to they provide knowledge of the menu, Golden Feast, for instance, or anything of the weekend features from the sea bass to the prawns. That just gets them a jump start as well, ongoing from that. Then the server will take over from there. They may even take over a drink order just to help out the team. And then once the server gets there, they may already have their order ready from that start there and maybe add on some appetizers after that. Server assistants being there to assist when they deliver food, from picking up anything that's dirty, send up some new plates, and then bringing them back, bringing out hot, delicious food at the correct time that it should be out. And then ending it with a maybe even surprise and delight from a dessert to whatever they're celebrating. And all that, all in all, is a team effort that going around. And not to leave out the kitchen, them pumping out the food the way it should be coming out, hot and ready to go. And, just making all that experience just flows around from teamwork from the beginning to end.
I've been there for lunch a billion times. I've been there for dinner a handful of times as well. Got to take the whole family out to dinner, I guess, a couple weeks ago. And, yeah, we splurged. We did all of it. We did appetizers, we did drinks. The kids didn't do drinks. Right. The wife and I did drinks. We did appetizers, we did drinks, we did the entrees, we even did the Great Wall of Chocolate for dessert. I mean, we went all in to get the full experience. And it's this nice mix of upscale but not stuffy. Is that accurate?
Yes. So it's upscale but not stuffy. So really, it's one of those where as soon as you step foot in there, everyone gets intimidated by it, by the ambiance and everything. But it's nothing to be intimidated about. Once they get in there and relax, and we make them feel at home and welcomed, they just, we take it from there. We are I tell my team, don't let them look at the menu. You become the menu. You order for them.
Okay.
Help them with that.
Yeah. The dinner experience was fantastic because I'm so used to, lunch is all about time, right? Yeah. Lunch is all about get in and get out. Y'all do a fantastic job of that. But time and flavor, obviously. Dinner is a little more relaxed of an experience, but on top of that, y'all have a great happy hour menu as well.
Yes, we do. Yes, we have a great happy hour menu. That is only for the bar area. We're trying to drive traffic that way, but if it is full, which it does get full, we are more than happy to accommodate them on the dining room as well. And that is from $5 drinks from a Zen Margarita to Pink Lotus Cosmo. And then we have some appetizers on there as well. And it's the most popular ones that everybody likes, from the lettuce wrap, veggie wraps, crab wontons, and dumplings. And that's just, with that being said, it's a hit. Very popular.
All right, let's talk a little bit about what y'all brought in today. What am I looking at over here?
We have the spicy change chicken, the honey shrimp. Mm-hmm. We have crab wontons, which is our appetizer. We have our famous chicken lettuce wraps.
Okay.
And we have our spring rolls, which is an appetizer as well.
How did the chicken lettuce wraps get to be so popular? I mean, it is my wife's favorite, so I see it. I see it in real life, but how did they get to be that popular? I mean,
I think it's wildfire. I think it's just a mixture of the lettuce wrap on top of the lettuce with the gluten-free the chicken lettuce sauce on it, mm-hmm. And I think it's just the combination of both that's very, very soothing.
Well, I mean, because the lettuce is so crisp and refreshing. It doesn't, like, you put the chicken on it. It's not like it's sitting there going to wilt or anything like that.
Yeah, definitely.
It maintains that crispness to it and a little bit of pop to it. It's definitely a different dish altogether.
Yes, sir.
We got OJ in with us. We got Quentin in with us from PF Chang's. You'll find them in Town Center, just off Corporate Boulevard. We like saying, look for the giant golden horse. How big of an icon is that horse, man? Right outside.
Huge. Oh my goodness. From time to time I see parents picking up their kids to take pictures with them, which it's cute to see, but at the same time we got to let them know how dangerous that may be. But yeah, it's a celebrity. It's one of our biggest celebrities. They're out there taking photos left and right with them. And we had a reef around there for the holidays. It looked nice.
Yeah, but my son is attracted to the horse. We have not let him climb on it for a picture though. That is definitely not going to happen. Let's talk a little bit about we mentioned some of the appetizers. You mentioned the bar menu. Can we talk desserts for just a quick minute?
Yes, sir.
What's on the dessert menu? I know the Great Wall of Chocolate was awesome, but run down the dessert menu for us.
So the three little individual desserts that we have promotion going on right now. It's if you purchase an entree, you get an individual dessert. That is with the reward members. If you're not a reward member, we're glad to sign you up, and we will provide that for you on your first visit. So we have a key lime pie, and then we have a red velvet and a peanut butter cream pie, which is my favorite. It's really good. It's similar to a Reese's, I'd say like a Reese's Pieces.
Okay. I've heard the red velvet is fantastic, to be sure. Hang on, you mentioned rewards program. I'm not in the rewards program. What am I missing out on here?
Very easy. You go on our website. It's got little 3 bars on the left. Click on there, sign up for reward. Ask basic information from phone number, name, and email, and you're signed in. And you accumulate 1,500 points from signing up.
Okay.
From the get-go. Once you read a certain amount, you'll develop Chang's Cash, where you get emails and from us as well, letting us know what promotions are going on, and gladly provide those for you when you enter the restaurant.
We got about a minute and a half till break, and so what we're gonna do here is on the air we take a break. We go to Your Money Now. We'll have some commercials. We'll check traffic. What you with the 3 of us are gonna be doing during that break is tasting everything, and then when we come back after break, we'll give the full review on the back end. But with a minute to go till break, I'm seeing a question here via email. Parties. Do y'all host larger parties or bigger parties?
We definitely do. Yes. There's not been a party too big that we haven't been able to take. We've taken 50. There was, I believe it was I can't remember if it was a wedding or university, but that was about 80, which would have taken up the entire restaurant. That right there, unfortunately, we couldn't do. But we do like to host big parties. 50 pretty much is the biggest one we can take.
50 folks for a party is a pretty big party to take over to P.F. Chang's. Nonetheless, though, they can accommodate. We've got the folks from P.F. Chang's in the house with us. We're going to, when we hit break on air, we get Your Money Now coming your way. We're going to sample everything that we got going on over here. We'll give you the full review on the back end. Once again, you know where to find them. They're in Town Center, just off of Corporate Boulevard. You said 10 seconds? All right. It's 10 seconds still. All right. On air, let's hit Your Money Now. On Facebook Live, stick around. We're going to have some fun. Sorry about that. No. See, Brooklyn's watching on Facebook Live. She says Red Velvet's the best.
Yeah.
I don't know, dude. That Great Wall of Chocolate, because the density of it, man.
I am addicted to the red velvet.
Okay.
Ask him.
All right.
I eat it every day,
All right.
all day.
All right, Facebook. I'm about to dive in here. Actually, you know what I should do? I should take a picture of the whole spread first for when we post this on demand. I'll send that over to you, John. What am I trying first, guys?
Oh, you could try. Well, I mean, you're used to the lettuce wrap by now.
So yeah,
Grab one. I would do the honey shrimp and then work my way to James.
Okay. Is there a little
plates? Yes.
Plate.
Yep,
Yeah.
right there. Utensils.
Absolutely. I know the wontons inside and out. That's
Oh yeah.
that was the appetizer we got when we went the other day. And let's grab a spring roll. Yeah. Reach and grab it. All good. Awesome. All right, Facebook. Y'all know the drill. Do my best to find my, open up the full thesaurus there. Get my vocabulary going to make sure I'm descriptive. All right, what am I starting with? Chicken?
Chang's chicken.
I already know the Chang's chicken. By heart.
Yeah, I was just telling Quentin, I was like, he dines here.
Okay. What you need to know about everything that Chang's does is you're not getting weighted down with grease. It is lighter. It is crispier. Well, you're also not getting weighted down with batter here. The batter is very much a backseat player to the chicken itself. And as I'm talking, that spice is starting to pop up a little bit. It didn't hit me at first, but as I'm talking, it's starting to grow right there. So, yeah, you get a little bit of pop on the back end from the spice, for sure. But you let the chicken rule the day. That's important. That's very important because, you're not trying to overdo anything here. So, the Chang's chicken, always a winner. I got to try the spring roll. What else in there?
It's a mixture of cabbage mix, carrots, gramini mushrooms. And
That's what I'm finding. You know?
Yeah.
The cabbage and carrots I was expecting. It's those mushrooms, but there's the smoothness that runs through the whole thing.
Yeah, it's definitely.
What is that
smooth.
about?
It's sauteed down a little bit.
Okay.
Added with some spring roll mix of our own ingredients, and it's just lovely.
That I want to dip in the dynamite sauce.
Yeah?
I bet you that's next level.
I bet you that's great. Yeah, that's
next level for sure.
I haven't tried that one. Thank you for that idea.
Absolutely.
Later on today.
Oh, I'll see. Let sales know y'all here.
I feel we should make that our special sauce.
What I told I.
See, what happens is sales has a meeting on Friday mornings, and then they come down afterwards and just destroy this place, which is awesome. All right, the shrimp. What am I getting here?
Crispy honey shrimp.
Crispy honey shrimp. Okay, so I'm not expecting a whole lot of spice, right?
No, sir.
Okay. Crispy's not easy to do when you're putting it away to bring it somewhere.
Yeah.
Maintaining that is amazing.
Definitely. It's just the amount of salt that you have before you thicken it.
Yes.
It keeps that crisp.
Golly, that's so good and so sweet.
Yeah.
Very much on the sweet side, to be sure. Well, I know the rice. So you said you put dynamite sauce just on the rice?
Yeah. I eat it for breakfast.
Yes. I see them with a bowl. I don't even have to guess what it's in there. I already know what it is.
So we didn't when we went the other day, or a couple weeks ago now, is my oldest daughter got the crunchy roll, the sushi roll.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
I wasn't ready for that. Like she was like, "Oh, she's like, look at this." I'm like, "I didn't even know y'all had that."
Mm-hmm.
So good stuff. All right, let me give the full review when we get out back on air here real quick, and then once we're off the air, I'll like inhale the rest of this.
No, that's what we brought it for.
We brought it
Yes.
for a whole lot to inhale.
And you said sales team's going to come down in there.
I believe so. That's if they're up there.
Just follow your nose. Don't know where it's at. Yeah, you love the Golden Feast.
Golden Feast. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But yes, if you're ever in there, just ask for either one of us.
Yeah.
Or a management team will
Definitely take care of you.
Mm-hmm.
Chris?
Yeah.
Oh,
of course. So I was like, oh, you got taken care of. Not that everyone else does the same work.
Yeah, definitely.
Make sure I can actually talk. 8:56, Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP. One segment to go here on Mornings with Brian Haldane. About 3.5 minutes left in our Foodie Friday. We got OJ, we got Quint, we got the folks from P.F. Chang's in the house. All right, here's what I got to try during the break. Chang's Chicken, which I was not ready for that level of pop right there. When it comes to Chang's Chicken, it is a fried chicken, but it's not overly dominated by the batter. It's definitely not overly dominated by the grease because it's weird to say fried and refreshing in the same sentence, but there it is. It's fried and refreshing at the same time, though. It's not going to make you sit down. It's not like I was talking earlier about when you order Chinese takeout, that's what you expect. Right. This is on a level that is just, it's all about the flavors and not about what you're cooking in. There's a little bit of pop with the spices that are in this. It's not going to burn your mouth down, but you're definitely going to know that the seasoning's there. You're definitely going to know that those Asian-inspired spices are on the back end of it for sure. It took a second for the spices to get there. You taste all the flavor of the chicken and all the flavor and love that it's cooked with on the front end, and then let that spice come to the forefront afterwards. Also got to try it was the honey shrimp.
Crispy honey shrimp.
Crispy honey shrimp. Okay, the word crispy is very important right there because these guys brought this stuff over in aluminum container. This isn't like, bringing it out to your plate fresh. And even with transporting it, it did not lose its crispiness. Quint, what do y'all do to make sure that stays with that crunch?
Make sure that the sauce is in a perfect degrees of temperature, and we toss it and we just fry it at will.
And you talked about the sauces, the sweetness of that honey. It just, I mean, it is.
And that is definitely handmade inside the restaurant. It's not pre-made. It's come from our own recipe. So that's one of our popular dishes there.
So I did not try the chicken lettuce wraps because that one we know. We'll get into that one after the show. But I did try a spring roll because I hadn't had y'all spring rolls before. You bite into a spring roll, there's a number of vegetables you expect, right? You expect the cabbage. You expect the carrots. But there's this smoothness that ties it all together. And you were telling me that was a mushroom?
Yeah, gramini mushroom.
Gramini
mushrooms, our cabbage mix, and our carrots.
The way they all tie together like that, it's a different experience than the spring roll that I'm used to. It's just having that mushroom in there. It's almost like having a meat in there.
Yeah, definitely. And it's sauteed to a certain degree, and we have our own in-house spice that we also added on to it.
OJ, give us the physical address. I know I just say Town Center and look for the giant golden horse, but what's the physical address?
It's 7341 Corporate Boulevard, located in Town Center. You'll spot us on with the golden horse right outside, as you mentioned. You can't miss us.
7341 Corporate Boulevard. It is in Town Center. Available for lunch, available for dinner, available for parties, available for takeout, you name it. P.F. Chang's has got you covered over there. It is one of my favorites. I've been loving this partnership, guys. Love telling y'all story on a daily basis. Thank y'all so much for coming in for a couple minutes this morning.
Thank you.
We're all done for the day. We're all done for the week. Moon Griffon is up next. Don't forget, 11 o'clock when Brian Kilmeade kicks off. They will have the election for the Speaker of the House. We'll see how Mike Johnson does, and we'll see y'all next week. All right, Facebook. Thank y'all so much. Please go see my friends over at P.F. Chang's. Y'all hear me every day. You don't need me to drone on about it right now. Y'all hear me every day talk about this. You know what my favorites are. I might be a crispy honey shrimp guy now. I'm a Mongolian beef guy, or at least I have been. I might be in the middle of the conversion as we speak. Yeah. So, guys, go see him over at P.F. Chang's, and we'll see y'all on Monday. Thank you so much for hanging out.